Shalom and welcome to day 41 of Counting the Omer, and it's the Rabbi's blog coming from a Yeshua Masonic Synagogue, although here again you can see I'm working from home, keeping everyone safe. So thank you for joining me today. I want to quote one of my real favourite authors and Jewish philosophers, Rabbi Dr. Nathan Lopez Cardozo. If you've not seen this book, I can thoroughly recommend it. It's Jewish Law as Rebellion. But I want to just quote a couple of passages from this wonderful book to you today, and we'll see where it takes us in our thinking. He talks a bit about how the purpose of Jewish history is redemptive. There's a calling and a task for the Jewish people, and it's about redemptive history. That is what we are all about. He says it's a Heilsgeschichte, if you recognize that word. We are not here just because God wants a people. We have a job to do. And he then goes on to say this. The necessity of knowing God and how he breaks into history says, God then becomes a specific and historic personality. He becomes a player in the history of man, together with all the players in the human race. This makes him the most tragic figure in all human history, because he cannot appear in his authentic form, obviously as pure spirit, which would require him to be far beyond all human limitations and characteristics. Would he do so, he would be meaningless to humankind. He must appear in opposition to his very self, as in flesh. Not as a philosophical idea beyond all human resemblance, but as a redemptive God within history. It'd be surprising if you read something like that. You might be accused of being a Jewish heretic possibly, or maybe even coming from a Messianic side, or even vaguely a Christian side. But no, this is coming from an Orthodox Jewish source. He's a wonderful writer. He's got a deep sense of understanding of what Judaism is all about. It is about redemption and how God has to become, as he puts it, a specific and historic personality within history. And so he guides Israel to be the vehicle. And he says here, it is through the particularism that this universal mission is accomplished. And almost the particularism of Israel as a people of God through which redemption and salvation comes. It's the particularism of Israel, the universalism of salvation for all. We have a job to do, not just for ourselves. And who is Israel in all of this? Well, again, I quote, if we don't know. This is coming from our Orthodox source here. He says here, for Israel is neither a race, nor a nation, nor a religion in the conventional sense. It includes members of all races, and everyone can join to become a genuine child of Abraham and Sarah. It's an astonishing couple of sentences, really just drawn from page 89 there of the book. If you're interested, you can read it for yourself. It's a fascinating insight, I think, coming from an Orthodox source here of the purpose of Judaism and God's role within Jewish history of us being the vehicle for salvation to the nations, not only for ourselves in that way. And isn't it great to hear that Israel is not just those who are born Jewish? Anyone can become Israel. How would that happen? Of course, it happens through faith and so on. But I want to go back and pick out that bit about how God becomes a personality in human history when he is everything other than his normal, fully spiritual self, 100% spirit. He appears as the opposite of that. Now, he doesn't go on to flesh that out, if you'll forgive the pun, but that is what he's talking about. God appears in a form which is utterly other than who he is in the flesh. He becomes a real personality and a person in history to be our redemption and salvation. He becomes almost the incarnate Israel at that point. Yeshua is the key to actually understanding this salvation narrative as it runs through history. I'm not saying this. This is Rabbi Cardozo, who is hinting strongly at it, but of course he's hesitating to put names, I suggest, to the paragraphs that he's writing there. Jewish history is redemptive. He becomes a part of our history. He becomes a part of that in Yeshua Mashiachenu. It is through Yeshua that all this happens. Through him, salvation comes, not just for us as Jews, but to everyone who would call upon the name of the Lord. Any Gentile out there who wants salvation can come to the God of Israel and experience that salvation through Yeshua, the Jewish Messiah. Thank you for listening to me today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another edition of this. Toda Rabbi and Lehitrot. Bye-bye.